One Taco coming to you live from the end of day 3, and we finally got the one and only Red Belly Network. We've been harassing them all 3 days. Our tripod broke, but we got to connect with Tim on day 1. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Successful conference.
It was. What was the most interesting question on either RWAs or just like that someone had for Red Belly?
I don't think they've actually heard of us before. We're obviously an Australian project and we're doing big things in our side of the world, but the main question is, what is the name? Okay. And the Red Belly Black Snake is actually the name.
The Red Belly Black Snake? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I had other thoughts on it.
Yeah. Well, like most things in Australia, spiders, sharks.
Poisonous death.
Yes. So our founder, when he invented the algorithm that makes our blockchain tick, he came across a snake at his front door at the house, and so he named it after that.
Okay, that's a very interesting take. What is Red Belly Network?
So it's a consensus algorithm and a blockchain. So it was invented in the National Science Agency in Australia, and it's a extremely performant, very secure blockchain for real-world assets.
So more institutional play rather than consumer or retail.
Yeah, well, it's a public network, so anyone can join, but it's permissioned by default. So you KYC by when you join the network, but then it's EVM compatible, so anyone can join or build whatever they like on it. But the sort of assets and investors that it tracks are more institutional. Mm-hmm. So we've got $1 billion of assets on the network, and people are building these new tokenized assets on us.
Yeah, and are you seeing any like European push with the arts and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a bit of that, but I think that's more of the retail side of it. We're really focused on the sort of private credit, equities.
So the art, not necessarily art as in like NFTs, but art, the asset security token.
Asset security token.
It's one of the new things that came out of Europe recently. I think it's an art. Maybe it's a fart. I don't know. I get the acronyms I get lost on, but it's a new security token feature that they came out with.
Okay, it might be a standard. Yeah. Look, potentially there are many standards. What we're seeing is there is still a lot of scope for people to tokenize in whatever format or standard they want, depending on the asset class and depending on the regulation for the class. So there's no one way to do it yet, so we'll see. What's
the funnest thing that you know of that has been tokenized as an RWA on Red Belly?
I really like tokenization of rental agreements. So these are essentially the rent obligation for a landlord and a tenant, and you can tokenize these assets as a debt instrument, and you can have real-time rental payments going through traditional fiat banking into Red Belly blockchain to pay down the obligation and back into fiat again. And so the amount of flows you can see is many billions of dollars a year of rental flows. So this is one of the first use cases I've seen where people have extended a real-world use case on-chain and not just issued a bunch of dormant assets on a blockchain that don't do very much. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the extension of retail assets with flow onto a blockchain. So I'm super excited about that.
That's pretty awesome. To be honest, I feel like this is the first time that I've seen Red Belly on U.S. soil.
Yeah. Look, we're a very well known and respected academic project globally. It sort of goes back to our science agency roots. But we are pushing big into the US now. So we've got a team here now. We're tokenizing assets. We're looking for partners. And I think the sort of traction we've already got is giving us a bit of a head start. But there are a lot of general purpose blockchains that do RWA, but they also do metaverse and gaming and NFT. So we're super focused on the RWA sector. And we're sort of more thinking about how we solve the problem for the asset issuer or for the asset manager. And these are compliant and licensed, and so they feel a little bit more comfortable doing business on a network that's sort of focused on this asset class by default than others that aren't. So I think we're going to see a lot of success here.
That's pretty awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So then some of the big question pieces, like as you expand into the U.S., and I would assume that's more due to the political shift or regulatory shift of let's make clarity, let's make regulations rather than no regulations and let's just punish. You guys are, I know a lot about you, especially on the aspect of security side, because you have an amazing security partner with HashLock.
Oh yeah, no, they're great guys. So they're one of our main partners. They've worked with us to secure our smart contracts. They provided auditing services. They're very good guys. I recommend them.
Shout out to HashLock. I recommend them too.
Yeah.
We use them for our blockchain.
Oh, did you? Well done. No, they're very ethical. They're good guys.
Yeah. No, so, all right. So, Blockworks DAS, is this your first time being to DAS?
Yeah, it is. We've spoken to the team about attending for a while. We wanted to wait until our mainnet was live, so we've been live for about 6 months now, and this is really the conference for us. We're going to come back next year for sure. You'll see us
In London?
In London, definitely. The crowd here is, I guess, more au fait with the sort of things that we are building and where RWA is heading. And yeah, I think it's been a massive success.
All right. Do you think that there's going to be a big division between retail and institutional on the RWA side if it's like on a permissionless and open blockchain?
Not necessarily. I think that the regulators are looking at how wholesale conduct themselves on public networks. So we're sort of in the middle of a public open network that anyone can join, and a walled garden permissions KYC network that no one can do business with, like a hyperledger or something, right? So we've tried to strike a balance. And by doing that and just making sure everyone's KYC by default, there's a level of accountability anyway. So when the regulator looks at a network like that, they're like, okay, well, at least everyone's KYC. That's a start. And if the asset issuers are complying with whatever retail or wholesale license they already have, they're already doing that off-chain. So as long as they're showing that it's just a better technology solution and they're conducting themselves in a accountable way, then I think they'll get more comfortable with retail offerings following those wholesale offerings. So they've just got to behave themselves.
Yeah. So if someone wants to learn more about Red Belly, where do they go?
Lots of places. So we've got a community on a bunch of channels. So we're on Twitter, so we're at Red Belly Network, Discord, Telegram, our website's redbelly.network. We've got a community of about 50,000 people around the world. And yeah, we're pretty much global, so you'll find us anywhere. But those are the main places. Yeah.
Nice. And what about, like, as it is no longer like the buzzword, but it's like, how do we do it? How has Red Belly sort of like addressed like AI?
I'm glad you asked. So this is sort of the next part of our go-to-market, but because we've built this network of compliant assets, we've got verifiable credentials which allow people to buy these assets without manually KYC. These are sort of cryptographic proofs of your eligibility criteria. What we're seeing is agentic AI, semi-autonomous agents acting on a person's behalf will ingest and buy tokenized RWAs on our network. Now, you can't do this with a manual processing. So in other words, an AI can't pick up the phone and call a broker, and it can't send an email and say, hey, can you please send me a prospectus and I'll read it and wet signature it and send it back and fax it, right? So this is how things have been done off-chain.
I actually would contest that with some of the agents I've seen.
Well, we're hoping that it makes it a little bit easier than that. But essentially, you've got a fast blockchain, you've got the accountability layer, and then you've got these great assets. AI agents should be able to at least discover the best assets on a network like us and then recommend them, or potentially even execute and buy them. And so this is actually possible because of the stack we've built, but it has to be a licensed and compliant way to do so. Otherwise, the sort of high quality assets we're seeing can't issue on a network that doesn't have that level of compliance. So yeah, it's definitely happening faster than I thought it would actually, but it's for real. Yeah.
So are you guys participating in any hackathons, build-a-thons, or anything like that where people like might be able to earn a grant for building something cool on Red Belly?
Definitely. So we have a grants program that's active today. If you go to redbelly.network, you'll see that. We issue grants to developers, to builders, to institutions.
Content creators?
Content creators. Wow. Anyone who brings value to the network.
Then I just lost me. You lost me at value.
Yes, definitely. So we use that.
He didn't say positive value, though.
Yeah, or some value. No, definitely, yes. So we're going to do a hackathon later this year. But at the
virtual or in person?
I think it's going to be in person.
In Australia?
I think we'll do it here.
New York or just U.S.?
I'm preferring New York, but we'll figure out the details.
Texas. You should do it in Texas. Austin.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do it there?
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan?
Yes.
Yes.
I have so many AI people in Austin. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Just don't do it in San Fran.
Why?
No one wants to get robbed.
Okay, well, let's not do that then.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Nothing against San Fran, or maybe everything against San Fran.
Well, I'm from Australia. I can't comment.
I want to hear this comment. No, you've been amazing, and I think Red Belly's doing a really cool thing.
Thank you.
It's really going to be awesome to see how you guys grow over the next couple of years.
Cool.
And I think like the next year is going to be a really big time to shine. Shout out to Blockworks for having you here, because you guys definitely brought value.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to get to know us, and yeah, pleasure to talk to the audience.
See you